What's up, y'all, and welcome to 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. Well, it wasn't pretty, but the Birds outlast the Carolina Panthers for their 9th straight win. We'll recap this game with some discussion, including determining if it was just a bad Eagles win or a good Carolina loss, as well as preview a massive intrastate matchup for the Week 15 game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Without wasting any time, let's dive right into the episode with that Week 14 recap. Listen, y'all, these first quarter woes gotta stop. It's getting monotonous each week for me to start these recaps with basically, we ain't done shit in the first quarter. Neither team could do anything in the first quarter, for that matter, only getting a field goal by Carolina with about a minute and 15 seconds left. Moving into the second quarter, under 12 minutes left, Jalen Hurts fires a pass for Devontae Smith, who catches it along the sideline and gets the Birds into the red zone and eventually to the goal line, where a Jalen Hurts brotherly shove gets us into the end zone. Birds take the first lead 7-3. Carolina chews up about 8 whole minutes of the clock. 4 minutes left in the half. The Eagles were able to get Carolina to a 4th down. However, on that 4th down, Panthers quarterback Bryce Young finds tight end Tommy Tremble besting C.J. Gardner-Johnson for a touchdown, and the Panthers retake the lead. Eagles' next offensive drive ends in a 3-and-out. However, on the Panthers' next offensive drive, under 2 minutes left, it's a 3rd and 7. Bryce Young steps back, throws a pass, and it is read and intercepted by C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who gets it into Panthers territory at the 45-yard line. Hurts starts with the drive with a pass to A.J. Brown. His first target of the game, we'll go more into that later on, followed by a big Jalen Hurts rush to get the Birds within the red zone. This would lead to a touchdown pass to Devontae Smith as the Birds reclaim the lead to finish off the half. They're unable to convert on a 3rd and 4th on this first drive of the second half, and the Birds go for a 52-yard field goal, but it looks like Jake still got the yips and misses it. With Carolina taking over near midfield, they would go on another 8+ minute drive, getting down the field and into the end zone with a Chuba Hubbard 1-yard rushing touchdown. However, the point after touchdown is missed. I don't know what the heck is going on with kickers lately, but Carolina only leads by 2 now at this point. The Birds would excel on the ground on the following offensive drive, where we saw an 11-yard rush and a 15-yard rush from Saquon Barkley. Despite getting sacked on 2nd down, on the following play, we see Hurts run up the middle for a huge 35-yard rushing gain to put the Birds in the red zone. This would lead into the 4th quarter. On a 3rd and 4, Hurts fires a short pass up the middle for tight end Grant Calcaterra for a touchdown. His first NFL career touchdown for him, and with it, it helps his team take the lead. The Birds would go for 2 on this play and make it a 6-point game with a successful handoff to Saquon, who gets it into the end zone for that 2-point conversion. The Panthers and Eagles would each have about 5 to 6 minutes on their next drive, neither of which really resulted in points, and it's down to under 3 minutes left in the game. Despite Carolina being on their own inch line, they're able to convert for 33 yards on a 3rd down. The Birds would hold the Panthers to a 4th and 7. However, they were able to convert for another 1st down. 2nd and 4 from the Birds' 32-yard line at this point. Young steps back, fires, and it appears like it would have been caught. I thought this was going to be another Atlanta situation. However, it is ruled that Xavier Legette did not complete the pass, and it is ruled incomplete as the ball hit the ground before the possession was obtained. Big play Slay would seal the game on a 4th down with a PBU. Birds escape with a win with a final score of 22-17. to 16. Jalen Hurts would go 14 for 21 for 108 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 turnovers, as well as 8 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Saquon Barkley would have 20 carries for 124 yards, surpassing LaShawn Shady McCoy for the all-time Eagles franchise single-season rushing record. All right, let's move into some Eagles news and discussion. Starting off with the first bit of news. With that win on Sunday and losses by both Atlanta and Arizona, the Birds become the second team in the NFC to clinch a playoff berth, with Detroit being the first. Additionally, in A.J. Brown's post-conference interview after the Panthers win, he stated, "Passing was the biggest issue with the offense." Now listen, I ain't going to go into all the drama that's behind it because honestly, a lot of it to me looks like it's fabricated by the media to make things seem more serious or detrimental than they actually are. We saw it with, these BS A.J. Brown trade rumors like last year or something like that. It's blown out of proportion. But I am bringing this up only because it relates to the Week 15 preview info that I have for later in the show. All right, y'all, so let's move into those discussion, opinions, and overreactions, starting with the offense. Now, I don't know what the hell is going on with the offense in this game, but this was not the offense that we saw against Baltimore. Our run game, sure, that was explosive. 209 total yards on the ground and a Jalen Hurts touchdown. We love to see it. But the passing offense, now that I have to agree with AJ on, and it to me seemed pretty questionable. 14 for 21, only 21 attempts for 108 yards, but it's with 2 touchdowns, so it's not all that bad. It was more of our inability to make completable passes. Jalen just kept holding on to the ball for so long, and the decisions that he was making when he finally would let go of the ball were also pretty questionable. Like, why the fuck are we running backwards and sliding for an 8-yard sack as opposed to just throwing it away or, completing the pass to somebody who was open before doing so? Like, why was there so much hesitancy on pass plays in this game? Were the receivers not open? Could have been, but honestly, there were a lot of situations where they were open, so I don't know about that one. I counted at least several occasions where both Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown were open, but then again, what quarterback doesn't miss wide open receivers every now and then? But it was a little bit different in this game. I can guarantee to any Hurts hater out there that your favorite quarterback has missed a ton of open wide receivers in at least 1 to 2 games this season, so I don't want to hear the Jalen Hurts regression bullshit. Now, was it the play calling questionable? That also could have been the case for why the passing kind of sucked this one. At times, it looked like there was confusion and hesitancy from multiple players on the offense on various play calls. Not sure if their communication was just shit or if they were trying to figure out plays they weren't familiar with or as familiar with as opposed to others, but something different was up. Was the O-line having a difficult game? For sure. 4 sacks against a dead last ranked rush defense is not a good look. Sure, one of those was a self-inflicted sack from Jalen Hurts, but nonetheless, the O-line shouldn't be giving up at least 3 sacks to them. Was Jalen just not having his best game? Also a possibility. Very hesitant. It was giving 2023 Jalen Hurts vibes minus the turnovers. In reality, it could have been all of those reasons why we didn't perform as well offensively as we could have, especially against this type of team. I think the biggest reason is what A.J. Brown said was the passing. You got guys like Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson. They each have like 25 passing or more touchdowns this season, while Jalen's sitting at 14. Granted, he makes up for it by his rushing touchdowns as a dual-threat quarterback, but the passing has got to make some improvements. And with this game, I think it was more of a little bit more of a Kellen Moore issue. Why is A.J. Brown not getting targeted until the second quarter? That responsibility falls a little bit on the offensive coordinator to call plays that get A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith in those types of positions. It's a 22nd ranked pass defense that we are going up against. I know we have a great running back, but he shouldn't be the sole responsible party for getting us down the field. A.J. Brown was targeted 4 times. Devontae Smith was targeted 6 times. 10 total targets between the top 2 wide receivers. Adam Thielen on the Panthers alone had 11 targets. Why are we not passing to one of the best wide receiver tandems in the league against a 22nd ranked passing defense? His excuse should not be because we played a bottom-ranked run defense with a top-ranked running back. He wasn't able to score. Our top 2 wide receivers went 10 for 12 for 80 yards and 1 touchdown. If they actually had more targets, those numbers could have looked a lot better. But Kellen Moore's got to put his guys, QB, and wide receivers in a position with his play calling to make those targets happen. Yes, you can put some blame on Jalen Hurts because there was opportunities that were widely missed, misread defenses, but I don't think it's all him to blame. I think the coaching staff had a lot to do with these lack of target numbers, and that has to change next week, especially since we're going against one of the best run defenses in the league. We need a rushing and a passing quarterback, but we need our OC to help get him in a position to be able to do that efficiently. Okay, moving on to the defense. The defense, in terms of points allowed, they were right about on pace for what we've been per game over the season, only allowing, things like between 15 and 16 points. They got the job done, but there were some avoidable moments, like the 3rd, 4th down conversions. Now, I attribute that, others could attribute that to fatigue. The Panthers had, at least 2 8-minute long or longer drives, and overall our defense was on the field way more than Carolina's was. But you got to make those stops on 3rd and 4th down to get yourself off the field. You're not helping yourself in those situations. You let them convert for at least 2 4th downs on like a 4th and 2 and a 4th and 7. You let them convert on like a 3rd and 11, a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 4th or 3rd and long type of situations. You got to make those stops. Plus, how the actual fuck do you let Carolina, when they're on their own inch line? It wasn't even at the 1. It was literally like at the inch. We were a actual fundamentally good tackle away from getting a safety in that situation. So how the fuck do you let them convert on a 3rd and 11 on the inch line for 33 yards? Somebody answer that for me. Now, also, fundamentals were an issue. The tackling wasn't great. Their receivers were getting more separation from our DBs than I would have liked, and they were being left wide open at times. CJ bit on the Tommy Tremble touchdown and the Xavier Legette near catch. We definitely missed Reed Blankenship out there, I ain't gonna lie. Besides Zach Bond, he's one of the best tacklers out there. Cooper DeJean, he didn't have his best game. Our edge rushers and our tackles could only get 1 sack on Bryce Young. It was like he was covered in like butter or some shit. And it was just a defense filled with simple yet sloppy mistakes. I'm glad they were able to get the job done. Don't get me wrong. I am thankful for that. But the bar was set pretty high for this game after that Baltimore win. We got the win, but our defense needs to review film this week and work on a lot of fundamentals. Alrighty, y'all. Now that that discussion is done, let's go into our Week 15 preview. So, the Eagles get to stay in Philly this week as we get an intrastate battle with the Pittsburgh Steelers, making their way to the city of brotherly love. The win for the Birds last week was a little closer than most anticipated, especially when, the spread was like 2 touchdowns, while the Steelers are coming off a 2-score win over a division rival in the Cleveland Browns. This matchup, it ain't going to be easy, especially with the way we played against Carolina. But we should have hope as Saquon and the team continue to be on their own paths to history. So, here's are some things that I think we need to do to get the win this week over the Steelers. Starting on the offensive side of the ball, pretty plain and simple. Pass the damn ball. Usually we're demanding the other way around to run the ball, but Jalen has had 3 consecutive sub-200-yard passing games and under 23 attempts per game across those 3 games. Pittsburgh is a significantly better defense than Carolina, and we gotta get that ball out quick. Not only does Kellen Moore need to put this offense in a better position by calling more passing plays to target your best receivers, but Jalen's also got to get rid of that ball and avoid making stupid-ass mistakes like missing 3 wide-open receivers but throwing the ball away or after a scramble or sliding down for an 8-yard sack. He has got to stop holding on to that ball for so long. His pocket presence, he's being in there for too long, and it makes it more difficult not only for the receivers to get open and stay open, but it's tiresome on an O-line. They can't block everyone forever, especially with guys like TJ Watt and Cam Hayward on that line. Don't even Alex Highsmith. Kellen, you got to get your top wide receivers involved, and Jalen, get the damn ball out to them a lot quicker, please. Also, for that run defense, I know the team elevated Blasting game against Carolina, but I think they need to do that again and actually use him on more than like one or two plays, because it's definitely going to help to have an extra blocker for Barkley going up against a 4th-ranked rush defense. Speaking of defense, moving on to the defensive side of the ball, I think the biggest thing for me in order to get that win is fundamentals. That's making tackles, keeping up with the receivers, communication, whatever you qualify as fundamentals. That's what this defense needs to do to improve in practice until this game. You also have to make these stops on 3rd and 4th downs, hopefully putting them in 3rd and longer situations. Boswell is definitely outperforming Jake Elliott right now. And even if the Steelers can't convert on one of those 3rd downs, if we allow them to convert to too many, they could get down the field, be in good field position for Boswell to kick. And at that point, we're just giving them free points. You also have to contain their running backs and tight ends. Russell dumping off to those guys in quick passes is almost like an every other offensive play guarantee. If Pickens, especially if George Pickens is out, Wilson's not going to have a lot of targets to get down the field. Even when Pickens is in, the second best receiver on that team is their tight end in Pat Freiermuth, who was the only receiver to gain over 40 yards when the Steelers played the Browns in Week 14. I think he was either the only one or one of two. So, we should expect runs up the middle from Harris as well as checkdowns to Warren and Freiermuth. Warren, he's a good receiving running back, so we should expect to see him get a lot of targets. Thus, we need to prioritize containing their running backs and tight ends from a defensive perspective. Okay, y'all, before we end the show, we got some predictions for this game. Now, I hope this is a week where we turn things around. You got A.J. Brown frustrated with passing. He's changing his Instagram picture to the Joker from Batman. And with all the drama that has been ensued this week revolving around him and the Eagles, I can just smell the momentum building up for this Eagles team to get them back into the positive conversation. I think this game will be close, but I see a 31-27 victory for the Birds, with A.J. Brown not only getting into the end zone, but I could see him getting 90 or 100 yards in this game. And that's hopefully because him, Jalen, and Kellen Moore work out the discrepancies on the offense in practice this week. Additionally, I see Saquon getting into the end zone since he didn't last week. Jalen getting a rushing TD because that's almost a guarantee. And you know what? Let's make it 2 A.J. Brown touchdowns. He went ham on the Steelers last time they played 2 years ago. Let's see a repeat of that this time around. All right, y'all, so that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15. That's 2NDAND15, or by the full name, 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you missed my collab episode with Frank Mattis earlier this week, the audio is available and the video is on Old City Sports Network YouTube. This episode, the entire show, and Old City Sports Network are sponsored by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Use the promo code OCSN for 15% off the best jerky around. Any orders over $50 will receive free shipping. We're also sponsored by Warlord Beard Oil. Use promo code OLDSPORTS, OLDE Sports, to get 15% off your beard oils, washes, soaps, and so much more. Any order over $75 will get you free shipping as well. We're also brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the app and use promo code Old City Sports Network, all one word, for $20 off of your first purchase. We're also newly sponsored by Robert Heng Holt Construction. If you are in the greater Philadelphia region and need some work done with your roof, windows, siding, deck, whatever, Call the number one contractor in the area at 610-348-1066 to get a free estimate today. We're also sponsored by Decals by Aaron for all of your Delco products and merchandise. Your number one spot for everything Delco, that's Decals by Aaron. And finally, we are sponsored by Iron and Steel Threads. Use our promo code OLDCITY10, OLDE, City, and the number 10 for 10% off the entire website. And a portion of any proceeds go to youth hockey organizations. Once again, thanks to y'all for joining in this episode of 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network. This is Michael Roscoe signing off. We'll see y'all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds.